I wanted to make mention that when I say he, his, man, etc., please let it be known that both genders are represented. Both man and woman are equal and divine goddesses or gods on this planet. Now I wish to discuss exactly what comprises the concept of magic. Magic is the use of a greater law of nature to offset temporarily a lesser law of nature. Magic is nothing less, nothing more. As a student of the law goes deeper into the study of the mysteries of life, widely known today as the secret, the student finds that all knowledge reduces to a natural simplicity. For example, all sickness is a result of too much or too little energy flowing through a given area within any particular system. Energy follows thought. All forms of existence are direct extensions of the one life. Thus, the law of one immutably governs all existence. What is the law? The law of one. Namaste, namaskaram. There is nothing but self. All of us are extensions of the one self. And what appears to be not self is merely the relative state of that one self complying with a lesser law, extending or branching off from the law of one. This lesser law is known as the law of three. In turn, the law of seven exists as a lesser law within the law of three. All magic is based on the conscious knowledge and the full control of the three basic and major laws of nature: the law of one, the law of three, and the law of seven. The new aspirant who learns to think synthetically, law of one, three-dimensionally, law of three, and in sevenfold planes or dimensions, law of seven, can soon exhibit magical powers. The law of duality is another subordinate law of the law of one. It is usually the first major fully realized and controlled law in the life of aspirant's life. The magician simply wields the unique forces contained within these various laws to produce his spectacular results. In the process, he or she must always make use of a greater law or force to control a lesser force. Think it through. You do not have to be a rocket scientist or a philosopher to grasp or to understand this absolute universal principle. Ordinary logic will convince you of the truth of these statements. There exists no exception in the universe. The greater energy always controls the lesser energy, and the one always extends as a unit of three. Magicians always exercise a greater control over themselves, their environment, and others than those who are not magicians. It is no mystery then that once someone is aware of these powerful and immutable laws of nature, he or she begins eagerly to learn all that about them. It is also an innate law within man that he yearns to be free. He, she, longs to exercise total free choices in the world, to have conscious dominion over the forces of nature that now blindly immerse and surround him or her within an awesome spectrum of great agony to majestic glory. The magician who has unveiled these laws of nature and learned to discipline his form aspect gains conscious liberation from all of the limitations of matter. First, the magician attains control over their very own immediate nature, subjectively and objectively. From there, it becomes an easy step to work intelligently with the laws of nature instead of blindly feeling his way through the labyrinth of material obstructions, and often much worse, sometimes blindly against the laws of nature. To see or not to see aptly describes the stark difference between the magician and the common person on the street. Please clearly understand understand that the term common person is not a put down, but merely describes us currently ignorant of the law. The white magician does not separate and hold himself egotistically above others. He always thinks and deals in terms of energies and hierarchies of existence. The term positive or negative to the average or initiated person merely holds a descriptive image that permits another to see the difference between one dual aspect of nature and another. The white magician knows that everyone is fully divine, yet he clearly differentiates between potential and actual energy. Source is within all of us, within every atom, but how much? This vital knowledge of how much or how little God force resides within any aspect or form of life makes up the alluring and highly fascinating textbooks of the new aspiring magician. You, my esteemed viewer, might ask, if there is such a very clear difference between liberation and imprisonment of the self and easily learnable laws of nature to offset the offending laws, why are there not more conscious magicians evident among all of humanity today? Why are we not then all greatly learned and practicing magicians? The answer is that until man becomes fully aware of his own sacred inner I am, God's self-identity, and of his or her qualitative self, he simply moves along in the affairs of life, almost totally identified with his environment as a unit of one. He is steeped in mass consciousness, and even though he may proudly and arrogantly proclaim his obvious, wondrous individuality, he cannot yet consciously disassociate his own unique source, self-identity, from that of his environment. Only when the introspective human being realizes that he is not the body, not the emotions, and not the mind, does he awaken to his true self-identity as a living, ever immortal soul. As long as he erroneously continues to identify with any one or all aspects of his lower self, his true higher self will be a mystery to him. Only through quiet meditation on his problem, which usually occurs only after the grief of his self-made self-imprisonment becomes too obvious and finally too unbearable, does the awakening self see his past mistake and choose to rectify it. This sudden new awareness provides his first conscious interest into the alluring realm of magic. He sees that he must become a student of nature, thus an aspirant to magic. Note, the back to nature movement that is gathering momentum in the world today. The liberated individual realizes that liberation comes only to those human-souled individuals on Earth or to any other sentient animal or man-bearing planet in the universe who achieve self-knowledge and conscious control of the basic laws of nature. When one has started to awaken, no one can turn him back to his former mundane, distastefully imprisoned existence. She or he knows now too much. You can never unknow what you know. And thank goodness and thank Source for that. The soul of man must and will eventually demonstrate its own divine nature to those uninitiated into the mysteries of life. Call the demonstration of this awesome power magic. To me or anyone else who clearly comprehends and uses these powers for white or for black magic, everything is natural. Magic is simply a word that is describing laws of nature at work that seemingly overpower subordinate laws of nature to accomplish seeming miracles. Those who have read a few books out there in your occult section at your local bookstore will recall that magic, as the use of focused mind to speed up natural processes, time and space, two constituents of life's threefold unity, are provoked in sudden new modifications of their form aspect through a masterful control of the third element of reality, motion. The slowing down or speeding up of this element in nature we call motion will produce unusual or miraculous results, magic. The fanatically religious individual and the extremely ignorant type of person will be quick to associate all magic with the work of the devil. They're quick to accuse every magician, whether a very divinely possessed man like Edgar Casey or the obvious white magician Swami Rama, of being a Satanist in league with the devil. Of course, these same unthinking individuals forget too easily or too conveniently that Moses and many other latter-day biblical occultists knew and practiced white magic. It might come as a very great surprise to any mentally stunted individual that time did not end with the formal gathering and printing up of the Gospels, and that magicians exist in our society today, and that some magicians are obviously white magicians. Magic can also be defined as a ritual, as an ability to set up certain vibratory rhythms or patterns of energy to increase or even counteract an already existing vibratory energy pattern or form. By using mind power and sound or mantras, the magician can impel the live elements, which really are elementals or divas of nature, to conform to a new pattern and form. A magician is a man or woman who, through much self-discipline and increased sensitivity, has learned how to contact and control the many hidden forces of nature within self or outside self, hidden to normal sight and touch. The yogi who walks placidly on glowing red or white hot coals walks upon on a bed of jagged glass without feeling pain or sustaining the slightest injury or wounds himself, and stops the blood from flowing, healing himself within a short period of time, as my dear friend Jack Schwartz does, uses magic simply and clearly. These modern day magicians know how to hold their consciousness at such a high level within their own systems that the atomic particles and molecules comprising their form are modified into whatever physical structure they envision. Jack Schwartz says, what he has done, you too can do. I also sound that identical same sweet mantra. Jesus was definitely a white magician who manifested many miracles. Like Jack Schwartz, Jesus also went on record to say to his disciples, "Greater things than these ye shall do." He also said, "Know ye not that ye are gods? And the kingdom of heaven is within." I know Jesus is right. God rests within the very heart of each being, no matter how large or small that being. All the conscious magic and daily miracles of the universe will begin to flow unimpeded through you or me or anyone in creation as soon as we learn how to work with the laws of nature. For it is truly so, all of us are gods. In reality, we each certainly are not God the whole, or rather, source. We each and all are simply an extension of source, a differentiated living aspect, a fractal of source, a God particle existing within a divine human atom-cadmon template. Somewhere within the heart of all manifestation, no matter how awesome and all-encompassing it appears to us, you and I are each on an individualized, immortal living God, I am self part. The continuous self-discovery of that God self is clearly what the magic is all about in this universe. Well, let's hold up there and let's ponder these words. Let us touch that God particle within, that extension of source that we all are, and thus begin to truly realize our own magic and manifest in this world of illusion. Isn't it time that we manifested our own illusion? Namaste. Namaskaram.